All right, also in the Senate Education Committee, not today, but previously, Senator Idaho's Education Savings Account bill hasn't made many moves in the Idaho Statehouse other than moving from the Senate Ed Committee to the full Senate chamber a week ago. And while we wait to see what happens with Senate Bill 1038, a lot of you are wondering about some of the language in the bill, how it might work and how much it will cost. That part, we kind of talked about a little bit already this week. As for the rest, well, to pilfer a phrase, you got questions, we got answers. Liz lobbed us this. It would be helpful to understand how the program will be administered and who would do so, in-state or out of state. Brenda backed that up by wondering, how much will the Department of Ed have to expand to manage all these ESA accounts? Doesn't sound like less government to this conservative. Brenda and Starr kind of answering part of Liz's question there. The newly created ESA program will be run by the Department of Education, and to cover their costs, they're going to peel off a slice of the deposits, up to 3% for the first 2 years and up to 2% every year after that. The bill's sponsors say that'll be about $5 million a year. Will they have to hire more people? Well, the state treasurer can hire it out, paying a private management firm if it wanted to set up the application process, the accounts, and the distribution of the money. However, the Department of Ed would still be responsible for auditing the program to make sure parents are spending it how they should be or how they say they are. And they can do those audits randomly, quarterly, or annually. Rob in Boise asked a couple of questions. How long does a student have to be out of public school once they accept ESA money? Do parents who thought they could homeschool have to pay the money back if they re-enroll their kids in public school? Well, Rob, there isn't anything that says a student is tied to the program for a full year, thus the Freedom in Education name. But let's say they move, or they graduate, or they don't like that new private school after a semester and return to public school. The accounts will be funded quarterly, so they could just stop the transfers. But if there's money left in the ESA account, it will sit there for 3 years. At that point, the parent will be asked, hey, you still want to use this? If they do, they have 60 days to renew the application. If they don't, that money goes back to the state. After hearing what the Mountain States Policy Center's Chris Cargill said about the expected cost of the Idaho program after the first year,
this group is estimating 60,000 students would take advantage of the program in Idaho. Not even 60,000 have taken advantage of the program in Arizona, and Arizona is a state that's much larger.
Carol gave us a homework assignment, calling Cargill's take as twisted truth when it comes to facts and figures. She wanted us to read about Arizona's hemorrhaging program. It's a monumental money pit with little to show for it. Yes, the Grand Canyon State has had a grand response to its ESA program. Since going universal last fall, the Arizona Department of Education says they have more than 48,000 students enrolled, a majority of which were already private school students, and nearly half come from the state's wealthiest families. As for that hemorrhaging part, for the first quarter of this school year, the state has spent more than $300 million on their ESA program, nearly double what it spent all of last year. And because of that, projections put the state's education budget $4 million in the hole by June, prompting Governor Kate Hobbs in her first State of the State address to address the problem of crumbling infrastructure and crowded classrooms in Arizona's public schools like this.
And rather than doing the right thing and facing these challenges head on, the previous legislature passed a massive expansion of school vouchers that lacks accountability and will likely bankrupt this state. In fact, funding this expansion is poised to cost Arizona taxpayers an estimated $1.5 billion over the next 10 years if left unaddressed.
As for Carol's claim of little to show for it when it comes to Arizona, that is yet to be determined. Arizona's ESA program puts 90% of its per-student public school allocation into a savings account, which is about $7,000 per student. And like Idaho's, which Idaho's is based on Arizona's, there's very little oversight with it. There are still many other questions out there when it comes to ESAs, which we can hope will be answered when Senate Bill 1038 makes an appearance on the Senate floor.